My name is Ashok Chanda. I'm with the University of Minnesota Northwest Research and Outreach Center. So I mainly work with soil-borne diseases of sugar beet. So today we're going to talk about management of Rhizoctonia. So every year we get a lot of samples from the growers for diagnosis during the season. And then number one samples that we see are Rhizoctonia root rot of sugar beet. So we have a bigger problem of Rhizoctonia for the past 10 years. There are a few reasons for that. Number one, the crop rotation, right? So now we have a lot of soybeans and corn and edible beans in rotation with sugar beet. These are all really good hosts for Rhizoctonia. What is happening here is, even though you're not losing yield when you have soybeans or corn, but by the time you get into sugar beet, you have enough levels of the inoculum build up in the soil, and then it can affect a lot of different things. So the way Rhizoctonia affects, you can lose a lot of stands early in the season, really. And as you go later into the season, all it needs is some moisture and temperature, and then you can see a nice development of root rot underground. The bigger challenges with Rhizoctonia root rot, number one, stand loss early on during the first 4 to 5 weeks, and as you go later, you're going to lose more yield. And also, when you put these beets in the storage, you're going to lose more quality, and then there's less payment to the growers by the end of the season. We are looking at several different things to take a handle on this Rhizoctonia root rot of sugar beet. So number one, like we talked about crop rotation, so the best thing to do is to have wheat or other small grains just at least 1 or 2 years before sugar beet production, so you can get those inoculum back to really low levels, so it's not going to affect any sugar beets. Number two, if we're going to have soybeans or edible beans in the rotation, just do something about managing Rhizoctonia in those crops, or try to talk to your seed dealers to see if they have any varieties that have some tolerance to these diseases. That's really good. And number three, select tolerant varieties of sugar beet. And I say these varieties are also having good yield in addition to the Rhizoctonia resistance. But one thing to keep in mind, there is no protection against Rhizoctonia even in the resistant varieties until the beets reach 4 to 6 leaf stage. So that's really critical. So we have been looking at several different options to manage disease using fungicides. The number one on our list is seed treatment. So most of the seed treatments labeled for Rhizoctonia are pretty good in general, and they all belong to one class. It's called SDHI. They all inhibit one enzyme that's involved in respiration. So we have Cabina, Vibrance, or Sestiva, or several different combinations of these. And the good news is 100% of our sugar beet that's sold in this area comes with the seed treatment for Rhizoctonia, and we can expect to have some good protection for 4 to 5 weeks after planting. I know some of you are thinking, I think you can get by just with the seed treatment, but again and again, we can show with the data that these are not going to last a long time. Really, let's say the July is perfect example this year we have. We have nice heat, and we have been getting these rains every other day, so this is a perfect environment for Rhizoctonia. So I'll just show you some of the severe infestation of the roots here. Again, these were just pulled out from this plot. So most of these roots are actually gone, so there's nothing to harvest, especially from this one. But this one, you can see more than 50% of the root is gone. So this is what we are talking about, right? So if you got a seed treatment early on, there is no way you're going to get the protection from that in the roots at this stage. So for that, we have been talking about another thing at the time of planting. That's called in-furrow application. I know not many growers are a big fan of in-furrow applications, but if you have a field with very severe Rhizoctonia, it's really going to pay off. So because you're going to get stand protection for up to 8 to 10 weeks after planting, so you're going to keep those beets healthy for some more time. So even if you have late onset in the disease later in the season, you're not going to lose much yield to do that. But one thing to keep in mind with in-furrow applications, if you have really light soils and when the temperature is really cold, you can expect some stand injury. But like I always say, if you have a really severe field for Rhizoctonia, I think it's not a bad idea to put in-furrow applications. So you could go with the Quadris or Asteroid, but beware of some of the risks that come with that. And I know, so you all don't have very severe Rhizoctonia, but you may have some moderate levels to low levels. So for low levels, you could just have a seed treatment on a resistant variety or a moderately resistant variety. But what if you have a moderate level? Well, apart from the seed treatment, we could also go and do a post-emergence applications. So typically, we talk about post-emergence application in the form of a band. So what you want to do is just do a 10-inch band application covering those crowns when the beets are between 4 and 8 leaf stage. And also the other measurement to track is a 4-inch soil temperature. Typically when it hits 65 and it keeps going, the Rhizoctonia gets really active. And with our soils here, typically we reach those temperatures between any time in the first week of June. So from our years of research, what we have seen is as long as you get those post applications from first week of June through third week, we have been seeing good benefits. So that's your very wide time frame you have, because your seed already has a seed treatment to protect until that stage. So that's really helpful for Rhizoctonia to do that. And then some of you were actually asking me about, okay, well, how about I just do a broadcast application? Does it work? Yes, broadcast application works, but what we have found is if you have really severe fields, it's better to do a band application. When there's really low to moderate disease levels, the broadcast was looking very similar to the band application, but not in a tough situation. So you really want to do those band applications for those fields. So, and other things to keep in mind for Rhizoctonia, just whenever you are moving your heavy equipment from one field to another one, just get your pressure washer, just clean them off, because you don't want to move that into your adjacent fields where there is no Rhizoctonia. That's really tough. So again, talking about going back to the crop rotation, right? So we just need to take a good notes about the field history, which are the good fields and bad fields, so you can plan for your rotations to manage Rhizoctonia at the time.